how's it going? It's another episode of Motherhood Moments with Denisha. We are on episode 3, and today we're talking the importance of a routine in motherhood. So I'm sure most of you probably have a routine, but I'm just sharing what's worked for me and why me and my girls choose to still stick to a routine, yes, even in quarantine. All right, so let's get to it. The first step, I say it's very important. Well, first of all, I'll say this, y'all. I started off as really kind of a hot mess mom because I would wake up. I wouldn't really have a clear plan for the day. I would just kind of be running by the seat of my pants. And, I was a stay-at-home mom. The girls weren't in school, so we could wake up when we got ready. We could either choose to stay in our PJs or get dressed. And we could just kind of do our schedule however we pleased. But I did start to change that, as time went on, and the more experience I had with staying at home and also teaching my kids in that preschool age. But especially when they started school the beginning of this year, I had to make sure that we had a solid routine so that we could be prepared and that we could make it out the door in time to walk to school, and make sure that the girls were always on time and not so rushed. So what I did is I chose to sit down. And in step 1, the first thing that you'll need to do is develop a routine chart. So the way that I did that is I just basically wrote out all the things that we needed to do throughout the day, particularly in the morning. So in the morning, and this is just my routine with the kids. So in the mornings, I knew, okay, we've got to wake up at a certain time. At this time, I'm waking them up, and then get dressed and eat breakfast and brush teeth and do hair and all these things before, it's time to get out the door. I also included our morning affirmations in that, as well as our prayer time before we left for school. Now, obviously in quarantine, our routine has changed quite a bit. We still stick to a routine. It's just a little different. So since we're not having to leave the house, we still get up, get dressed, eat breakfast, brush teeth, brush hair. And then we just kind of get our materials prepared, unless they had already been prepared the night before, because we usually have plenty of time. We don't have to rush before their Zoom phone calls and things like that. So develop your routine, write it all down. And the next thing would be step number 2, stick to your routine for 2 to 3 weeks. Now, I know we're in quarantine. I know a lot of your kids are not going back to a brick and mortar school this year at all, but this is still very important because, when you develop a routine, whether you're at home or whether the kids are leaving in the morning for school, it definitely puts structure in place. And let me tell you, it worked wonders for me because it cleared up the chaos. We were all more calm. We were all getting a lot more accomplished. And, it just creates more of a peaceful environment in your home when you have structure. Okay. So this worked for me. If you stick to that routine, research has shown that it takes 21 days to form a habit. So that's really 3 weeks. I say 2 to 3 weeks. I think the kids will really get it. And honestly, once they do it for so long, they know what to do. They don't need you reminding them. They know the steps. They're excited about it. And it just makes your life so much easier. And it also helps with them being more independent in a lot of ways. So at least for me, because I have younger children. So this can work for any child, but for my kids being young, they were all under 5 at the time. Now I have a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old. So they're getting older. They can do a lot on their own, mostly everything, but it is so important that you have the structure in place because that is what's needed to create this order and this peace and the structure. And it makes your life so much easier. Now, the third step, and I know this is kind of a contradiction because I just said stick to the routine for 2 to 3 weeks so you can be consistent. However, you also have to be flexible. Now, if you have an off day or, because we are at home and circumstances are a little different right now, it's okay to be flexible every now and then. For example, on Fridays, I'm pretty flexible. We have a routine throughout the day. I won't go through every single step of what we're doing all day. However, throughout the day, we have a flow, we have an order. We know what time our classwork is done. Our lunchtime is right at noon. And then after that, they pretty much wrap up any school stuff that's still there around 1, maybe 2. And then we go outside. And, so we have our flow. I limit screen time. So, we don't watch a lot of TV. We have game nights where we play games. So I build all those things into our flow of the day. But again, the important thing is once you have mastered this routine with your kids and you feel like they have it and they're comfortable remembering these steps every day, then it's okay to slack up if you need to. And don't beat yourself up if you don't stick to the routine. Girl, we're all human. No, it's not going to work perfectly every single day. I, for one, don't do this every single day. However, my kids are used to the structure. So even if I'm not on them about, the schedule, we still are pretty close. And after you've done all this and just kind of worked it all out in your head, the next thing you need to do is create a visible graphic. Whether for me, I printed out pictures and I put those pictures on a board and hung it on the back of our front door. I did that so that the girls could go and it could be like a checks and balances before we left out the door for school. It's kind of our control system. Our affirmations are there. Our schedule is there in terms of all the things they need to do before we leave. And I'll show you some pictures of that. And then their schedules for school, like what day it is at school, all of that is on our front door. So it looks a little junky, but I don't care. Like, it really helps me to keep things in order. So I encourage you, whatever is easy for you, whether that's a poster board and stickers and names and charts or, however you feel most comfortable. But I encourage you to make something visual because kids are very visual, something that is on their level. So in closing, I just want to say that, as a result of establishing a routine and sticking to it most of the time, I would say maybe 80% of the time, our lives have just calmed down a lot. We've become more productive. I feel like I get so much more done, and not only with the girls, but personally, I get a lot done. So it is really beneficial to do this for yourself. I've made another video about my morning routine. If you haven't seen that, look in my IGTV videos and just check out my morning routine that I went through on there. And it is amazing. It changed my life. Waking up at least 1 hour before the kids to do my routine. Now, again, I'm in quarantine, so I'm not always consistent with. However, that is what really helped to kickstart this lifestyle of trying to stick to a routine and, getting things done and being more productive. I'm wishing you all the love, all the joy, and all the blessings your heart can hold this week. Hang in there, mamas. It's going to get better.